Okay, so we had a forum a couple of weeks ago over at Plainview Elementary's old gym, and we had our candidates come out and speak. And we said at that point that we would probably invite them in for a little bit more of a session where we could sit down and talk to them and get a little meat on the bone and find out what's going on in these campaigns. So tonight, our first interview is going to be with Mr. Michael Elmore, who is running for Board of Education. Now, Michael is a resident of Plainview, and I'm going to let Mike just start off and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, you're right. I am a resident of Plainview, a graduate of Plainview when it was a K-8, and of course went on to Midway High School and graduated there. On to Campbell, got a degree in business management. So I'm a native Sampsonian, been here my whole life. So Steve and Edith Elmore, my parents, my brother Jason Elmore, so my wife Beth. So that's pretty much me. That's who I am. Good
deal. I know, and your folks, they're good people.
Well, I appreciate that. I think so anyway.
They're good people. The Elmore family and the Wrench family go way back.
They go way back. Yeah, my daddy and your daddy was very good friends.
They were, but here we go. We're going hippity hoppity right down that rabbit trail. My great grandfather that lived at the grocery barn.
Mm-hmm.
Sherman's army camped out at his place, used it for a headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
They took pretty much everything he had, stripped it bare. Well, they had this thing called the Southern Claims Commission, and Granddaddy filed up and said, "I'm not as good a Confederate as you think I am. I'm a Union man. I need a little recompense for what you took." Well, in the deposition, there's a gentleman by the last name of Elmore. And I looked that Elmore up, and he is your third or fourth great-granddaddy.
How about that?
He was testifying in a deposition for my third or fourth great-granddaddy. And so our families have been in cahoots for a long time.
We go way back.
Way back. So that's a disclaimer. Now, you can take that for what it's worth.
That's right.
But Michael, I'm glad you're running for Board of Education. So you're over there at Plainview, and Miss Kim Smidlin, who took G.H. Wilson's seat years ago.
That's right.
Has decided to call it a day.
She did.
And she has done a good job over there representing the folks in Plainview and Sampson.
Absolutely.
I think she's done a fine job. But she's leaving, and now you're up for the seat. And I know that your views are probably not quite exactly like hers, but tell me what's on your mind right now with the campaign. What's one of the biggest issues you're seeing out there talking to people as you move around?
Well, and a big thank you to Kim for the work that she did and the dedication she had, and she's actually really the biggest reason I'm running because she contacted me back in the summer and said, if I don't run, I'd like you to consider running for the board. And so after much prayer and thought, I elected to do that, and so I was. I have to say I'm very grateful to Kim for that and her asking me to run and her faith in my ability to serve on the board. So I appreciate that. But school's different than it was when you and I were in school, and we have a lot of challenges and a lot of things. One of the things I think a lot of folks are concerned about is security. We have talked about that in the past. So I'm very grateful that we have got the school resource officers in our schools. I think there are some opportunities probably for us to do better at school, especially at our middle schools and high schools. Maybe I'd like to see the metal detectors put back in to add that extra level of security because I do know that's a big thing with a lot of parents now. It's a big concern. So I think that's something we really need to explore and look at.
Okay. Well, security is number one issue right now.
Mm-hmm.
Every time we turn around, there's another mass shooting.
Exactly.
And we don't want it to be here, but that possibility is always around.
Well, it's always going to be there. We've got to be diligent. We've got to do our part to take all the precautions that we can, to make sure it doesn't happen. So, again, that's something I know that's on a lot of people's mind right now. So.
Well, with security, we talk about a lot of that, and SROs are a big deal to have a physical presence
That's
there.
right.
That is a good deterrent, probably one of the best you can have. And I know that a lot of federal grants, we talked about that with Jennifer Naylor the other night, that federal grants take care of a lot of that. There's some county money involved in that too, and some other funding. She enlightened me after the fact we had the conversation. So there's a lot entailed in that. But also these alternative schools, she was talking about the elementary. Does that concern you a great deal that there's that kind of activity in the elementaries that we have to send them somewhere already?
Well, again, I harken back to how it was when, if I think back how it was when we were in elementary school, we didn't really have that problem. We had the paddle, and that usually fixed. And then you got it when you got home, and that really fixed it. So, but the kids these days, the home life for some of them is vastly, vastly different than what you and I were brought up in. And we can control a lot of things, but unfortunately we can't control what happens at the kid's house. So yeah, it is concerning. So, we also have to make sure that, our administrators in the schools, whether it be in elementary or high school, middle school, that they have the backing and the authority to do what they think is best. They're in the trenches day in and day out. So, we need to really listen to what they say, and if we've gone through the process and we get to that third strike and the alternative learning program is the only option, I think we have to let that take place.
Well, the security, like I say, it's the biggest issue out there as far as with the kids. But education is certainly a big issue too. Jennifer and I talked a little bit about, promoting home folks and talked about the quality of the teachers who were coming in. And I know that you're not involved in actual teachers. Your degree's in business.
That's right.
So, and you've been working in construction a lot and other things, I know. But what do you see from a layman's point of view, from an outsider? What do you see might be the biggest thing with the actual learning process there?
Well, the learning process, they learn things a lot differently than what we did. And it seems like it's a little more, and again, being on the outside looking in, I don't have the educator's point of view, but it seems like, and a lot of this stuff comes down from the state, that we're mandated, we have to operate, within, DPI instruction. But, I think a lot of what the kids have to learn they have to learn it in a way much different than we did. And I don't think it's as good nor as easy. But again, that's an outsider looking in. Now, a teacher may tell you something entirely different on that, and I'd certainly be eager to hear those opinions as well. Because if I'm privileged to serve on the board, I've got a big learning curve. I've got a lot to learn. I'm currently going through the board policy manual now. I'm reading that online, looking back and going through meeting minutes. And so, if I do have the opportunity to serve, I'm going to be up to speed as much as I can be and hit the ground running. So
that's right out of the gate. That's good.
Got to be. You can't go in totally blind.
Well, you've been watching this game from the sideline for a long time, and we pick up a lot of stuff. Now, we don't know a lot of it, but of course we understand a great deal.
That's right.
You and I were talking a little while ago about, I called it the aging fleet. Sampson County schools are not, a lot of the schools aren't very new. They're older facilities now.
They are.
We call it the New Clement, but the New Clement's 25 years old.
That's right.
The New Plainview's 25 years old.
That's right.
The New Midway's 20 years old. We're getting into some age on these buildings, and then of course Hopton is getting ready to be replaced, and that building is building what, 59 or 60?
Yes.
So at the same time as Old Midway High School.
They were both around the same time.
Right, and Old Midway High School is still being utilized as a elementary school, and it's 60 plus years old. So do you see a problem? What about strategic planning on that? Should we be looking at that?
Absolutely. Well, and just, the life of any building is going to be maintaining it, and that's making sure our roof is the biggest thing. We've got to keep it dry, and we can't really put a Band-Aid on things, in my opinion. If it's broken, let's fix it. I realize that funds are going to be an issue, that we don't have the funds to, do everything maybe that needs to be done. And so hopefully there's an opportunity there for some grants, where we can keep up our infrastructure. And so we can maintain that and get, another 50 years of life out of them, as opposed to, having to, and by that point, we'll be ready maybe to build a new high school in whatever district it needs to be. So,
We knew it, I think it was the January Grange meeting. I think you were there. We had the Honorable Cliff Turpin.
Yes.
The mayor of Falcon was
Yes.
there, and the mayor spoke to us a little bit about operations. He worked in Cumberland County operations for years and has recently retired, and he talked about the fact that the guys in operations are the ones that keep things going. Now, I know we talk about teachers a lot, but these guys in operations are the ones that keep those toilets running.
That's exactly right.
Keep the ones that keeps the kitchen running, the food coming, the air conditioning, the heat on. What about that? I mean, we don't talk about those guys a whole lot.
Well, we don't. And if you recall back to the forum, I touched on this. All of our employees in the county are important, and they all have to work together. There's a lot of things that have to happen for educators to be able to educate. And just inside the school itself, with our cafeteria staff, our custodial staff, the office staff, administrators, teachers, it all works great when they're all working together. When everybody feels like they are appreciated, when they feel like they're supported, they're going to look forward to coming to school. They're going to look forward to coming to work. That's going to make the best opportunity for kids to learn. That's going to be the best environment. And it goes out beyond that. We need to take that also to the county level, from the folks in the county office all the way throughout, folks that go and, as you said, clean out the pipes or maintain the roof or fix what's broken. Everybody's important. Everybody has a job to do. And everybody needs to feel like they are appreciated for the job they do, because without them, where would we be? We'd be sitting buckets around trying to catch water while you're trying to teach math class, and that doesn't work. So everybody's important.
Well, we did, Jennifer and I talked a little bit about the buildings, and we talked about asynchronous learning and remote learning and all that. That's something that's really catching hold. Do you have any thoughts on that part? Because, I mean, like you said, it's not like it was when we were kids, and we were on Saturdays making snow days up and
That's right.
doing that kind of thing.
That's
but,
right.
Is there some thoughts on Michael's mind about some of that?
I think COVID was detrimental in so many ways. One of the ways was, that it pushed us farther and farther away from the pen and the pencil, the traditional learning style. And I think that's something that really needs to be maintained. We obviously live in a computer world, and our kids need to know how to operate a computer. Really, most of the time, by the time they hit kindergarten, they can operate a computer already. But I still think, in my opinion now, that being able to write and cursive write and use pen and paper and work out problems, with a pencil and paper, should still be taught. Because kids these days don't even know how to fill out a check, or they can't count money back when you're buying a Bojangles chicken biscuit. So those are still, the life skills are still skills that need to be taught. So I think that's something that we really need to make sure that we focus on. I understand that we're focusing back towards that some, and I'm glad to see that. So that's something that we really do need to maintain and make sure that when they graduate school, that they can read a cursive handwriting, they can fill out a check, and they know how to count money. In addition to everything else that goes along with living,
Good comment.
being out on your own.
Well, we don't think making change is a very important skill set to have until we're behind the cash register trying to make change.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we live in a digital world, but when the digital world goes down and doesn't work because the internet's not functioning, and you've got cash in your pocket, you want to pay for it.
Now, in the last few days, I have heard a lot of chatter about the Board of Education, and we're set up in an at-large election.
We are.
There's no districts here to be represented. It's all at-large. And Midway has been blessed with a lot of representatives over the years. So, we've got, I'm looking down at my notes now. We have Jennifer and Kim from Midway area. We have Mr. Warren and Bradshaw from Hobton. Mm-hmm. We've got Miss Powell down in Lakewood and Burley. Mr. Burley's down there in Union right now. So we've got somebody from pretty much everywhere. Do you think that that's enough of a representation there? Is there anything that you might say needs to be changed at some point in the future? And I know you don't set policy for elections, but do you see anything just talking off the cuff on that?
Well, I can understand the human nature of wanting somebody or someone that to represent on the countywide board. So I understand that mindset, but and there's nothing wrong with that mindset. I don't disagree with that line of thinking at all. But in the reality that we're in, since we are at large and since we all serve to serve the whole county, that's the mindset we have to have. And we have to be unified really as a county because we're all basically on the same team. Even though we play ball, it's a different story when we play each other. But in the whole scheme of things, Sampson County Schools should be one body, and the board needs to do what is best for Sampson County Schools as a whole. What's going to be the best for each district? Thinking of it as a whole instead of breaking it up. Now, if at some point in time, powers that be decide to break it up and make it like the commissioner board where we represent a district, then that'll be a different ballgame at that point in time. But as it is right now, we're obligated to serve the whole county and do what's best for everyone.
That's an excellent answer because that's your job.
It is, and people in Union are going to have a different. I mean, folks in Union are going to have a different perspective than we do up here in the northern part of the county, and we have a different perspective than the folks that's going to be down towards Roosevelt, Sonnenberg, Lakewood area. But we just have to be mindful of that, and as a board, collectively, just make the best decisions that's going to benefit everybody.
University of Mount Olive. And I believe Sampson Community has just entered into some kind of a partnership with them on the agricultural program. Mm-hmm. That's always been my thing with that is that we've got some kids that aren't going to be doctors or lawyers or computer programmers. They want to work on a farm. They want to be mechanics. They want to work with their hands.
That's right.
Do you think that something there is a vocational effort might be a good plan? Or something even more tailored to that?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a huge advocate of vocational education, in part because it was real big when we were in school. But part of that is you hit the nail on the head. Not every kid wants to go to a 4-year school. They'd like to get a 2-year degree, or they'd like to get their electrical license or HVAC license, or be a mechanic. And there's plenty of money to be made in vocational services like that. So I think that should be a very big part of our educational process. And I think it's a great thing that we're partnering with Sampson Community College, the early college program where kids can graduate from high school and at the same time get their 2-year degree if that's what they're motivated to do. And I think it's fantastic that Sampson Community College is working in part with Mount Olive in that vocational agriculture program. So I think, especially the kind of county that we live in, it's rural. Agriculture is a huge part of who we are, and to ignore that would just be stupid. Let's just put it like it is.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Our bread and butter is farming.
It is.
Agribusiness. A lot of that's going on around here, and we don't seem to we seem to be reaching out. The Economic Development Committee and all them they're talking all these big plans when we've got a multi-billion-dollar business sitting right here in our lap.
That's
that
right.
we could work with, and education. That's one of the things too. The Grange is about rural life. That's
Absolutely.
what we're into. We're about agriculture. We're about rural life. We're about preserving the old ways and customs, and we know that they have to be intermingled with the new ways. But I'm like you. We were all products of that agricultural education
Absolutely.
system at Midway, and we came through that, and we learned a great deal, and it's stuck with us. I'm just thinking, we talk about, when we talk about the schools, we've got a good administration, but is there, like it under county office, central office, is there anything there you see that might need some tweaking? I know that you've not got a chance to work with them. I'm just saying, looking from the outside in, is there anything there that stands out?
Well, that is, like you said, I don't have any inside views on that, having not served on the board and not worked directly with them. So I think as a board, we need to, accountability needs to be a part of our equation in working with the central office. But we also need to support them and, make sure that they have, that we've got policies in place that, they can work with and just work really hand in hand with them to make sure that what our schools need gets in the hands of the teachers and the administrators down there. So don't have a lot of work experience with them yet, but prayerfully I'm looking forward to doing that. So,
well, this is the first campaign that you've run.
Oh yes,
with your name on the top of the ticket. What's been the most interesting thing you've seen so far as being a candidate?
Oh man, the most interesting thing so far being a candidate. Well, it's still a little bit odd riding down the road and seeing my yard signs with my name on it, asking for a vote for the Board of Education. So that took a little getting used to, but I have to say I'm so grateful. Had a tremendous amount of support and encouragement, and there's it's an interesting process, meeting and greeting and doing things like that, and just trying to promote yourself, which is something that doesn't come naturally for me. So I feel like I've gotten a little tongue-tied a time or 12 when I'm trying to, cram 20 minutes of information into a 3-minute speech. So that's been one of the interesting parts anyway.
Well, so far you've done a real good job of cramming
that.
20 minutes into 3. You came to the forum, and all of you were there, and most, I believe Mr. Warren was not there.
Yeah.
But the rest of you did a fantastic job. I would have no problem voting for anybody on that slate. But, I thought you handled yourself very well. And it's hard to get up in front of a group of people, especially ones you know.
Exactly.
And
That's
true.
They're
staring at you.
That's true.
And I knew him in high school. Yeah. What's he doing up there?
Exactly.
But anyway, it's...
and I had several classmates there, so yourself included. So,
well, what do you? It's just the way it is, and here we are, almost 4 years later, sitting here with products of that Midway system.
Yes,
we went through that. GH just recently passed, and we remember him very well.
Very well,
coach and Board of Education, and all the things he did over there. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it has been. It's hard to believe it's been that long.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. But we're so glad you took the time to be here with us today.
I appreciate the opportunity.
We thank you for being here. It has been great to be able to sit down with you. It's like I told Jennifer the other night. When people get elected, they just kind of run off. We never see them again. Mm-hmm. So we want to leave the door open. If you get elected, Michael Elmore, we want to see you come back and be with us. Maybe we'll have an event here one night. And,
absolutely.
And have a party. And for all of you, we could get together, and then you can tell us what's really going on the board.
Well, and that just kind of segues to a point. I know you're trying to close, but that's one thing I want to be very active in the schools, and be seen in schools and be in the schools. And I'd really like for folks in the county office, to maybe, join me in going and visiting schools and seeing what's going on firsthand. I know they do that already, but just what I'd like is when I get to schools, I would love for any of the county office folks that would like to go with me, I'd welcome them to go, and let's see how things are going in the trenches, as the old saying goes. So.
Well, it's not a fishbowl.
No.
I mean, you need to be in there looking at it.
That's
you
right.
can't make decisions if you don't know what the actual circumstances are.
That's right.
If you don't see the lay of the land, how do you know what the problems are?
That's
I
right.
never have understood that.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it conveys the message to our schools too. They're just not sitting there making policy and doing something like that. They actually do care. They're coming out and they're coming to my school, and I appreciate that. So,
yeah. Well, so I thank you for your time.
I thank you for the opportunity,
And
bro.
we're so glad you got to be here. And
I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity to come and just sit down and talk. So,
well, that's what we're all about. That's what we're all about at the Grange, and sitting around talking. But we also like to see people making a difference. And we're glad that you have joined in with us. Well, we thank you for being here tonight, and we certainly look forward to you being on that board. And we wish you the best of luck. We know there's a lot of good candidates out there,
there are.
but I don't think we're going to lose with whoever goes on. So the Mingo Grange is being active in our community. We're trying to be proactive. We're trying to bring you these candidates so that you can see them here just talking in an everyday setting. It'll help to make you make up your mind. And we're so glad that we have this opportunity. And we'll see you next time here with the Grange. Thanks.